Hello, ladies, and welcome back to Get 'em Girl, a girl's guide to relationships, femininity, dating, polarity, and attraction. Okay, today I want to dive into actually two questions that I received on a couple of my previous videos, and I want to address them both because they're along the same lines. First question being, how to get comfortable going on solo dates? And then the second question being a little more dynamic, how to express your femininity, live in your femininity, grow your femininity while being single. Okay, so I want to address both of those because they both really have to do with on your own, that growth on your own, experiencing new things, growing in your femininity. So I want to touch on those things today. And so I want to start this out by saying, ladies, on this journey, if you are doing things solely based on how they make people perceive you, then these are not going to be things that end up lasting. These are not going to end up being things that will make you grow. Okay. And I want to say that because so many times we do things solely based off of what other people perceive, and we do not take into account our experience when doing that thing. Okay, so let's start off with the solo date so I can kind of give y'all an idea. So a lot of women, when they start to do solo dates, right, they get this inkling off of TikTok or YouTube or something that says, hey, you ladies need to be solo dating. And then they go through this kind of process of finding restaurants that are good places to meet men in their city. And so they pick out one of these restaurants and they wear the outfit that is recommended for them to wear. Wear this, wear this kind of outfit is going to attract, get this kind of drink is going to make you seem expensive and all these kind of things. So before you know it, if the ladies even make it to the solo date, if they're confident enough to even make it to the solo date, what you'll find is, and I live in a big city, so I see it all the time. There is a woman who has done all the things that she heard in the video, but when you get to the solo date, she looks so uncomfortable that it's like she would rather be anywhere else. And people can pick up on that. So now you're at a new restaurant with this outfit on that you may or may not have picked for yourself, buying this drink that you may not have picked for yourself, trying to attract people. But in reality, you're there, you're doing all these new things and you're uncomfortable. You're very uncomfortable to the point that some women, they don't even do it again after that because zero account was taken for their own experience and growing into being able to do that. And all of it was about how they were going to be perceived. If you order this drink, you're perceived as expensive and luxury, and men are going to see that. If you go to this place, you're going to be perceived this way. If you wear this, you're going to be perceived this way. Not taking into the account of where they are on their journey. And so they end up doing all of these things and looking uncomfortable, honestly. And that's the last message that you want to send. And I can tell you, I've seen a lot of women on solo dates, right? Only a handful of those women actually looked comfortable being on their own in the space they were in. Only a handful. So many, most of them looked very uncomfortable and looked like they didn't even want to be there. And that's not the vibe you want to get off, especially if you are wanting to attract someone to you, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a little bit of an inkling on how to get started with solo dating, because the things that I want you to introduce into your feminine journey, I want you to take into account your experience with it. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with thinking about how you will be perceived. You should, but also you need to take into account your experience, because if you do things that you hate doing, if you try things that you end up hating, then you will never do them again. And there is a right way to approach it. So what I'm going to tell you to do when you're starting out going on solo dates, right? And you've never been out on your own before, and this is just kind of something you want to try to do, I need you to start to get comfortable with it first. Get comfortable with the idea of spending extended time in a space just for leisure and not actually having a reason why you have to be there, right? I need you to get comfortable just being there leisurely by yourself. And so I'm going to suggest starting out on solo dates, pick nice restaurants or nice surroundings that you've been to before. You just may not have been there by yourself. Okay, because we need some familiarity somewhere so that you can feel more comfortable being out until you get used to the idea of being on your own. Okay, so pick a place that you've been before. Maybe there's a waiter or a bartender there that has a familiar face. Even if you don't know them, there's just a source of familiarity with that. Okay, and then go there for your favorite dish, get the drink you want to get. Okay, ladies, because I know you want to jump out there to the other restaurants and this is where the men are, but if you're there and you're uncomfortable, it won't do you any good. So I need you to start this way first so you can get comfortable. Okay, where whatever it makes you feel sexy. Okay, it may not be what the tips are all telling you to wear. Wear what makes you feel really confident and really sexy, and then practice being open in a space that you're familiar with. And then my thing is, I always say this to the ladies, start with what makes sense. So if you're in a restaurant, it makes sense that you're going to be talking to the waiter. It makes sense that you're going to be talking to the bartender, and it makes sense that you're going to be ordering food. So when you're talking to the waiter, have extended conversation, have big conversation. I have been waiting all week to come and try this dish. I have been thinking about it nonstop. So here I am. I need this. I need it hot. I need it fresh. Please start conversation with what's already familiar to you. Start with what makes sense. If you're talking to the bartender, you know what I'm here for. You know I love whatever. Okay, personally, I love an amaretto sour. I know that's not the most like fancy drink, but if I'm talking to a bartender out alone, I'm like, now I have come here plenty of times, and every time I come here, I order an amaretto sour. So I'm gonna need you to give me that. I'm gonna need you to stop pretending like you don't know what I'm here for. Start having conversations with the people that it makes sense for you to be having conversations with so that you can get open and loose. Okay? Because it starts with the bartender. It starts with the waiter. Maybe someone overhears and they're like, hey, what do you like from this place? It sounds like you've been here before. Then you can start conversing with people that you're not so familiar with, but you have to get yourself comfortable. Okay? So that's the point, ladies. And then once you start doing that, then you can make tweaks one thing at a time to get to those bigger solo dates, right? So maybe you try a new restaurant, get your same old goodies, find a dish. And here's a tip too. Plan your solo dates a week out. And don't just go into, even if it is a new restaurant, don't just go into there not knowing their menu, not knowing their drinks, not knowing really anything about it. Go ahead and make sure that your experience is going to be good. Okay, that's what I want you to focus on going into a solo date, into a new restaurant. Focus on making your experience the best you can. So like a week ahead of time, look at the menu. Go ahead and have pre-planned what you want to order so that hopefully, if you're picking according to your taste and not worried about what other people are thinking, it's something that you'll be excited for. So maybe it'll give you anticipation. So all week you can be like, oh my gosh, okay, I'm going to have this there. And I'm actually really excited about this. I've been waiting to get to this. Okay, so that when you go into the solo date at a new restaurant, you're going in with excitement because you actually have something that you're looking forward to trying, having a dish that you're looking forward to eating instead of looking like you would rather be anywhere else. I want you to focus on your experience of that solo date. If you have a really nice dish that you've been wanting to try, go ahead and have it in your mind. Let yourself salivate over it all week. If there's a drink that this restaurant specializes in and you found that and you've really been wanting that all week, let yourself think about that all week so you can be excited when you finally get to this new restaurant so that you actually are giving yourself an experience and you're not just doing things based off of what other people perceive, but based off the fact that you're really about to enjoy whatever this is so that you don't seem like you don't want to be there. We want the experience to still be good, even though you're trying to be perceived by men. Do you get what I'm saying, ladies? Don't just worry about being seen by men. Also take into account giving yourself a really good experience so that you feel like you actually want to be on this solo date. so that you feel like you actually want to talk to people and you're not like curled up in the corner trying to hide away because you really don't want to be there. Like, no, make sure this is going to be an experience that you actually want to have, that you can be excited about. And so making sure that you know certain aspects before going into these new places, like the menu and what you're going to order and all these things, can kind of help you to give something to focus on that you can be excited about. Right, ladies? So don't just blanket, never been on a solo date, go to a new restaurant, haven't looked at the menu, don't know what drink you're going to get, don't know the atmosphere, just threw some outfit on that the girls told you should wear, and now you up there ordering a drink that you've never had before. Like, no, focus on your enjoyment of these solo dates, because you're going to have to be able to enjoy this time by yourself in order to make sure that you keep doing it. Okay, so ease yourself into these experiences, because as long as you're easing yourself into it, you're growing into the comfortability of being alone while you're out, being alone and getting dressed up and going to a new place. You're growing yourself into it instead of just throwing yourself out there and then being like, I never want to do that again, or dreading it even if you do decide to do it again. Okay, ladies, so that's going to be my tip as far as the solo dates. Okay, I want you to just, let's baby step it. Let's baby step it. It may not look like the Instagram or TikTok solo date when you first start. You know what I'm saying? It may look a little bit different, but what you need to do is get comfortable first. And then furthermore, let's address practicing and growing in your femininity while you're single. Ladies, I'm going to tell you this, and this is not to like discourage anybody, but I feel like when you're single, this is one of the best times to be on your femininity journey. And I say that not because you cannot go on this journey when you're with someone. I don't want anyone to get that perception. But when you're single, working on your femininity and growing in your femininity, you can solely focus on yourself, right? So a lot of times when we go on a growth journey and there's another party involved, or they can, they know our normal day-to-day things and how we normally operate. Once we start trying to change those things, and once we try to do things a different way, then, sometimes there is another voice that may be like, when you start doing that, why are you doing that now? Why are you getting all dressed up? Why are you, and that's not to say that's everyone's spouse, but that is to say growth is easier when you are to yourself and you can just focus on it. And there's no one to remind you that this isn't what you normally do, So I think when you're single is like almost the perfect time to be working on your femininity. And your femininity, it shouldn't be because of someone else. Right. So a lot of times when there is maybe a relationship at play, some women, not all, but some women will go on this femininity journey as a means to do something for their relationship, as a means to make some, kind of shift in their relationship as far as the atmosphere or adding back a spark, all those kind of things. But in reality, even in relationship, we have to realize that our femininity is ours, regardless of the other person in the picture. And so I think when you're single and you're working on your femininity, that is the best time to do it, because there is no other person who you can hinge your femininity on. You know what I'm saying? It's not based off of another person or what they think or what they do or don't like. You know what I'm saying? It's completely based on you. There's no one attached to it, right? And that's how it should be. That's how it should be. Even for my ladies in relationships, I have to remind them, yes, I know we want these certain outcomes in our relationship, but you're doing this for you. I need you to step outside of this. I'm doing this for us, and I need you to realize that you need to do it for you first, okay, so that it can benefit the both of you, but you're doing it for you first. You need this growth. You need these changes, right? It's just going to benefit him in the end. But these things are for you, right? And so when you talk about practicing femininity while you're single, that's the best time. And just like with the solo dates, anything that you're doing, don't just do it for perception and for attracting a mate or anything like that. Do it because you genuinely want these things in your life. So all the tips and all the videos that I've made before explaining things that you can be doing to grow in your femininity, explaining about like your different environments and explaining on meeting new people and creating friendships and all those different things, they apply to you single ladies as well. So I know that we talk a lot about marriage and things on this channel, but your femininity, because it is about you, it doesn't matter if you're married or single. Those videos are for you because it's your femininity, whether there's another person around who's going to benefit from it or not. You get what I'm saying? That doesn't change. Now, what I will say for my single ladies, there is like some things that you can do so that you can kind of have almost like placeholder in lieu of. There's things you can do in lieu of having a partner. So maybe you could start incorporating asking men for help, even though they're not your spouse, even though they're not your person, right? Because you're single. Maybe there's things around your apartment that need to be worked on. Maybe you need help with your groceries. Maybe you need help pumping your gas. We be careful about that though, ladies. But all of these different things, get comfortable with allowing men to take up that space, even though you do not have any intention of being with that specific person. So get okay with saying yes if the worker at the grocery store asks, do you need help with your groceries? Go ahead and say yes. You know what I'm saying? Get used to that. If you're having friends over and, there are some male friends there and you need help with something, hey, well, while you're here, I don't have anybody that typically does this for me. So would you mind helping me do this, whatever that is? Okay. So there are ways to get kind of what you need as far as being able to lean back a little bit, even though you don't have a person in your life. But you do have to get comfortable with allowing other people to help, giving them the yes when they ask you if you need help. And not being so, I'm Superwoman, I can do it all on my own until the man gets here, and then I'll let someone help me. Like, no, get used to going ahead and leaning back and letting someone help you ahead of time. So I think that is something that, could potentially help some of the single ladies. But I'm telling you, literally every single thing in those videos that I talk about is not geared to just women in relationship or just women who are engaged. It's for the single ladies as well. Okay, because it doesn't matter what your relationship status is. Your femininity is yours. So if I'm saying, you need to work on your friend group and you need to work on going outside and talking to people and meeting people and being a certain way, I'm talking to all of y'all. I'm not just talking to women who are in certain situations. All of our femininity is our own, right? And it's not for a certain demographic a certain relationship status. I'll say that. So it's really no different, ladies. And as far as those time frames where there needs to be a male presence, get okay with outsourcing that. Okay. Until you do have a person that's in your life long term. Get used to outsourcing it for now, just so you can practice not having to do everything on your own. That's the only difference that I can really think of that I would say. But in everything, I just want to remind you, ladies, it's not purely based on how others perceive you when you're doing these things. Like even the last video when we were talking about things to look like an upkept woman, what you kept hearing me say was, do what fits you, do what makes you feel sexy, do what makes you feel good, because it's not just about, I'm going to get this certain haircut or do this certain things because other people will think I'm sexy. Other people will really like it. No, you do that specific haircut or you do these things because, yes, other people will think you're sexy. However, it makes you feel really sexy, so you want to do it, right? It's about your experience, your attachment to these things, okay? And the fact that other people get to enjoy it is just a benefit. right? It's just a benefit. It just helps. It just helps with, your spouse or your future person. They get the benefit of your femininity, but it's yours first. It's your experience first. Okay, ladies. So hopefully that kind of helped with the femininity and being single, also with the solo dates question. These are things that I don't want you to attach to other people or how other people see them. I want you to do it for you. Okay, make sure you're enjoying your journey. Make sure you feel good during this journey. Okay, ladies? So, like I said, I have a few more questions to address, but if you have any other topics that you want to get a video for, go ahead, leave those in the comments so I can get to working on those as well. I want to thank y'all for watching another episode of Get 'em Girl, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.